horses would tend to go a little faster than mules. They also use oxen. They use whatever they have. This is a pasture pack. And we have 3 out there walking on that towpath. The gentleman is named Bill. The horses are Percherons. Each of them weighing about 2,300 pounds or more. They are walking, all 3 of them, 2.5 miles. By the end of the day, we're scheduled to make 4 trips. That's 10 miles of walking. Back there in the canal area, instead of using a grown man like Bill out there, a lot of times they find some kid to do the job. They didn't have child labor laws, and they put them to work. They might work as long as a 10-hour shift out there walking along that towpath. Continuous walking, except for when they have to make stops at stations or maybe to load or unload a boat. This is a passenger packet. It is not a freighter. It's a passenger boat called a packet from Monticello III. It's 74 feet long, 14 feet wide, and weighs approximately 25 tons. Now, but that breed of horses out there, the Percherons, once again, a breed that originated in France. Okay, they are big animals. They're work animals. We have 2 different pairs that we alternate during the week, 3 days. You know, if we work a 6-day week, which we're not working that many days right now, but during our summer season, 2 of them work 3 days, the other 2 work the other 3 days. We have 2 Belgians, 2 Percherons. So we trade off. They do not work hard. If you could look out there right now, some of you can see from this side of the boat, that tow line out there is dragging right now. It's not even taut. That's because we have a flat bottom passenger packet. All right. The Bill has the most difficult job. During the canal era, the animals would have been in tandem, one line, one behind the other. Now, if it's a big load, you know, say a coal, lumber, grain, beef, pork, chicken, iron ore, barrels of flour, or barrels of whiskey, or whatever they're hauling, they might have as many as 6 mules out in front. 6 mules. And a young boy could possibly ride the last animal. Many times the captains would tell them not to ride. They didn't want to burden the animals, so they tell them you have to walk instead. So they'd be out there walking. But they could ride the last animal out of all that whole line you have. Now the reason they had them in tandem, that way 2 groups of horses could pass each other. When boats would meet each other, they could pass. Because you can't spread them out the other way, adjacent to each other, you wouldn't have enough room. Because the towpath had to be 10 feet wide with a 5-foot berth. You wouldn't have enough room for all those big animals. In the stern, we have a gentleman named Tom steering the boat. He is called a helmsman or steersman. Now, Tom back there has our helmsman. He's got a big long wood piece called a tiller. He's steering with. He is actually leasing this boat. He and his wife works in the ticket office back there in that little building. Okay? They lease this boat. It's owned by the Coshocton Park District. About 7 or 8 years ago, the park ran into money problems. They couldn't get a levy passed at that time. So they have volunteered to lease it. So actually this boat's operating right now. Because of Tom back there who's steering the boat and his wife. Alright? So this is a passenger packet, not the way one would look. On the inside, up towards the bow, there would be a compartment for the crew sometimes. And sometimes a small ladies compartment, curtained off with privacy. So there. And then a large passenger compartment had beds pulled out of the sides of that. 3 tiers of them. They sleep feet to feet. Tables down to the center. The main purpose for the tables was they had a stove back there to cook meals. And they would cook meals. You could get on board and get a complete meal for a quarter in the early 1800s. And they were considered to be good meals too, like a home-cooked meal. And further back, a stable with spare animals. It was a privately owned boat. It was a company-owned boat. They had stables along the way with spare animals. So they'd switch animals, typically between 10 and 15 miles. They would switch animals. Now, the last compartment back there towards the stern was a compartment for the captain and his family. And believe me, they had families back then. They had families. There was one guy that built his house on top of one of our locks out in the canal end. He was born on a canal boat. His name, Pearl Dodd. You look him up, you find out this about him. He was the 15th out of 17 kids. And they put him to work. All those kids had to work. Back then, they would work. I can assure you. The girls would help cook the meals, paint the boat, be the seamstresses, you know, the cook, the bottle washer, they paint the boat, put shutters on the windows, you know, do all kinds of jobs. You describe what some of those women did. Did young boys get busy on these canals when they were building? Yeah. Some of them were real young. What would they do? They would carry water to the men as they were doing the digging. What else would they do? They would lead the animals once they cut down a tree. Yeah, there were trees every place. I want you to imagine, what was it like back in the early 1800s in Ohio? Use your imagination. Well, I'll tell you what, if you can imagine what I'm imagining, trees every place. There's a book out by a well-known author. He's been interviewed on TV a number of times. David McCullough. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning author. He wrote John Adams, one of our presidents, our second president. The book's titled The Pioneers. What does he describe Ohio like in the early 1800s? Not only trees every place and brush every place, oak trees 6 feet in diameter. Black walnut trees 41 feet in circumference. Trees so large that maybe 5 men would all have an axe and take turns trying to get that tree down. Sometimes at the end of the day they're already worn out, but maybe they still didn't get the tree down. That's how big the trees were. What were some of the biggest trees that they had back then? Near the water, like lakes and rivers. Sycamores and beech. As we go down here on the right side, if you look real close, you'll see 2 very large sycamores. They got a light colored bark towards the top. They're very large at the base. You'll see 2 sycamores, like I'm talking about, very large. Now let's get back to where it all started. Why did we need these canals? Well, we didn't have very many roads and bridges. And our economy of Ohio was suffering. Prices of many products were extremely low. Give you one quick example. Among many I could give. A barrel of flour in Cincinnati in the early 1800s was selling for right around $3. If you get that same barrel of flour where the demand would be greater, the largest cities like New York or Philadelphia, you could fetch as much as $8 for that same barrel of flour. But getting it there was the problem. That was the problem. Without roads and bridges, you got a problem. So we need better transportation. So we followed the lead of New York. Okay? New York, yeah. The Erie Canal, one of the most prolific canals in the nation. Between them. Yeah, there's the large one. There's one, some larger than that one right there. Yeah. We have several. Right. But you see 2 bigger than that. That's fine. You see 2 bigger than that one right there. Okay. But anyway. When did it start, by the way? July 4th, 1825. The red, white, and blue firecrackers. West of here, close to Newark, Ohio. Or Heath. Have you ever heard of those two? And you know what Newark has? Oh. Did you know Newark has another name? You didn't know that? Newark. Yeah. I had a group of kids on here one day from Newark City Schools. They called it Newark. Well, over there at Richard Sutton, back to Clifton Heath, July 4th, 6,000 people showed up for ceremony. That's when it all began. But they had another ceremony on the western side of the state. Because see, our state legislature wanted 2 canals between Lake Erie and the Ohio River. So they're going to dig 2 at the same time. 2 of them. And when they're all done digging canals in Ohio, we had close to 1,000 miles of ditches called canals. Close to 1,000 miles. That's a lot of work if you think about it. With shovels, picks, wheelbarrows, mattocks, and slip scoopers. But first they had to clear the trees. They're every place. And they dig rocks. What else did some young boys do? Some of them were called powder monkeys. You ever hear of a powder monkey anything on board? Well, you know what? They carried black powder. Wherever they need to get a stump out of the ground or blow apart a big rock, they carried black powder, which could be dangerous, of course. That's what they did. So they did a lot of different jobs, young boys, as well as walking those animals out there. Okay? Now, so they started on July 4th. First section done between Cleveland and Akron. Now, they went by state requirements. Minimum of 40 feet wide. Now, some of this we went through back there ways was not 40 feet wide. We've got erosion on this side. You see where dirt's falling down right there. It's not 40 feet wide. We've had erosion on this side. And there's restored section of the Ohio Erie Canal. And there's trees over here. See all those trees and brush over here? They cut that back 20 feet when they constructed the canal. That way trees wouldn't fall into the canal season. A minimum of 40 feet wide, 26 feet wide at the bottom, and at least 4 feet deep. Those are all minimums. However, some places were hundreds of feet wide. They actually dig it out, hundreds of feet wide. And some places were more than 12 feet deep. So you see they got a little carried away. Now who did that work? Well, my ancestors, Irish and German. And who did most of the work? The probably guessed it, Irish and German immigrants. They did most of the work. They worked from sun up to sundown, and they were paid by the state of Ohio when they started 30 cents a day plus room and board. 30 cents a day. But anyway, they would dig away after they cleared the trees. Now, here's one problem they had. Our land is not level. All right, everybody knows that. Between Cleveland and Portsmouth, there was more than 1,200 feet change in elevation. So they had to put locks in. That's how they leveled it up. Locks. Sometimes a double or a triple lock. A lock was 90 feet long with huge stones both sides. Oak gates on each end. It took about 10 to 20 minutes for a canal boat to get through a lock. They'd let the water in or out what was called a wicket. And they'd average the average amount, they'd raise or lower the water level between 4 and 6 feet. Between 4 and 6 feet. They also had another feature. If anybody walked over there, they walked over here on a Sunday afternoon between Roscoe and here. Anybody happen to do that? Well, if you would have run across the wood footbridge over the Coshocton River. That's where they had an aqueduct. It was a wood trough. A wood trough with stone abutments below it. They're still there, the stone abutments. But that wood trough would have water in it, and you'd float right above the Coshocton River. There were 14 of those built. Those aqueducts, like the ancient Romans built. So that's how they get across the rivers and ravines. Now, this canal, done in sections. The whole thing was done between Lake Erie and the Ohio River in 9 years. They did it in sections, and they filled up the water and used it each time they got a section done. The first section was done in 2 years between Akron and Cleveland, and the first canal boat was on its way from Akron to Cleveland, called the State of Ohio, on July 4th, 1827. It was already going from Akron to Cleveland. And the number one place where they built canal boats in our nation, Akron area. More canal boats were built there than any other place in our nation. Now, one key thing you got to know, we didn't have a lot of engineers, so I had a gentleman on the boat here this last trip, and he said, I got an ancestor that worked on these canals. And he said, he was an engineer. I said, was he from New York? He said, yes, he was. Why was he from New York? We didn't have any engineers in the early 1800s. Did you ever think of that? They came from New York. So they laid out the canals. And what was one key thing they wanted to make sure when they laid out the canals? Where are they going to get water? Did you ever think of that? So where did they get it from? Rivers along the way. I'll give you an example. Our capital, Columbus, Ohio. The side of the river goes through Columbus. They dug a feeder canal from Columbus, the side of the river, to our canal and let the water in slow with a feeder lock. Let it in slow, so there would be very little current in the canal. All right? So water came from rivers along the way. Not the Lake Erie. Didn't come from Lake Erie. Water doesn't flow uphill. Not the Ohio River. It doesn't flow uphill. I get many people say, didn't the water from this canal come from Lake Erie? It doesn't flow uphill, folks. Where else? Look how wide this is. They dug this out. This is called Mudport Basin. How many of you ever heard of this place? Buckeye Lake. Would you raise your hand? You ever heard of Buckeye Lake? Some of you heard of it? I wonder if you knew. The whole lake was done by hand. Those shovels, picks, wheelbarrows, mattocks, and slip scoops. More than 4,000 acres originally. Can you imagine starting that job? Our largest lakes in Ohio, our largest lakes were all either partially or altogether man-made. What for? Canal water, folks. Canal water. You ever hear of Grand Lake St. Mary's? It's the largest man-made, with hand tools, lake in the country when it was built. It was the largest. Thousands of acres. Okay? Water supply. So there's your two main sources of water. Rivers along the way and large bodies of water that were either partially or altogether man-made. Now, Buckeye Lake was called the Big Swamp before it was called Buckeye Lake. You know what happened to a lot of those guys digging through there? They died from diseases. Typhoid, smallpox, cholera. And the disease they call canal fever. We call it malaria today. But they gave them something. You probably know. You know what they give them for disease back in those days? Liquor. There you go. Some of them must have Irish in them. They gave them 4 or 5 jiggers of whiskey. The state of Ohio provided the whiskey, folks. Give it to drink. And I'm here to tell you, it helped. I've seen some of the diaries of some of the Irishmen. Some of them died quite happy.
Yeah.
Now,
Didn't cure him, but didn't
that's
care.
right.
Just made them happy.
Anyway, this wide area, it was great for boats to pass each other. You know, we got a little room. So what would happen when two boats would meet? Our passenger packet had the right of way over freighters. Most of the boats were freighters, hauling big loads, up to 80 tons on some of the largest boats. How did that work? They stop their animals out in front of us. They get their boat on this side of us, get their tow line, that's that big rope, down in the water, and we go right over top of it. But guess what? You know, sometimes they haul perishable goods, you know, like fruit and vegetables, and sometimes they had a scheduled meet, and nobody wanted to give up the right of way. So what happened instead? I have my own term for it. Maybe you've heard of it. Canal range. You ever hear of canal range?
Canal Boat.
One big fight right over here between the two captains, the two crews, and sometimes their wives. Now, by 1855, they're laying track all over the state of Ohio. We could not compete with the railroads. By the 1900s, the government could make canals left. The railroads are putting us out of business. Then in 1913, a huge flood occurred. Huge flood. I'm not talking the rough road, but that's the end of the canal area, 1913.
Look, you just turned around. What do you think, girl? You were in the pool or what?
Is that hard? Look at them horses. They're so beautiful.
Oh, they were on the other end? Yeah. This is the hard part. Yeah. Did he go up there? Oh, wow. There's another one with a working lot. And it's, oh, that's up near Toledo.
Yes.
Yeah, I
That's
did
where we
read
live.
there was another one. Oh, have you been on that one too?
Yeah, we live in Great Red.
Oh,